Good morning, everybody. It's Donna Sylvester in the Denver, Colorado area, and it is Wednesday, September the 30th, the last day of the third quarter of the month, and moving into the fourth quarter of the year and into fall. So I have with me my good friend from eWomen Network, Nicole Bendig-Lamb, who is the sweet, snarky cake chick lady, and want to talk with her a little bit about her business. Good morning, Nicole. How
Morning,
are you doing
Donna.
today?
Yeah, good morning. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you're up in Arvada, right?
That is correct. I love it up here.
Yeah, it's a nice area. I used to live up there. I think that that's one of the best views of the mountains that you can have and still be in the city. So it's a
Yeah,
great area.
yeah, it's a great community.
Yeah. So tell me a little bit about, I know you from eWomen. I've seen some of
Mhm.
the cakes that you bring to the eWomen Network meetings. Tell me
Mhm.
a little bit about how you got started into baking cakes.
Well, I've always loved baking, and I grew up, I'm the youngest of eight. So there were three boys and five girls. So we were always just always in the kitchen with our mom. And so I just grew up with a love of baking and just seeing how happy it makes people. And I just always wanted to do it. So about 26 or 27 years ago, I decided I'm just going to teach myself how to do this decorating thing. So I started with a very small little kit of piping tips and a little tiny how-to book, and now it's my whole life. So, and by education, I'm actually an accountant. So I've worked in private industry and public accounting and tax firms for a long time. But a little over a year ago, I met my goal of being able to quit my day job in accounting and do my cakes full time. So here I am.
So it looks like you were in accounting for about 10 years before you were able to give that up and move full time into your creative adventure, right?
Yes, yes, that is correct.
So entrepreneurial adventures are interesting in and of themselves. Did you always think of yourself as an entrepreneur, or is that something that more came along because you were interested in having a cake baking business?
Yeah, my parents were small business owners. They took over my grandfather's business. That's an upholstery shop up in Wyoming. And so I kind of grew up in an entrepreneurial family. So it didn't seem it didn't seem that scary or different to me, I guess, when I
Uh-huh.
did it. So not that it was a little scary, but good scary.
So for myself, I went from being an employee for 39 years before I decided to jump into a small business venture. And when I think back to those early months and what I had to, my learning curve was steep. You have a real advantage in that you already knew the accounting end, which is so crucial for people who are opening a small business of their own. What were your first couple of challenges? You kind of already had the accounting down. So for
Yeah.
you, what were a couple of the things that you had to focus on in the early days?
Oh gosh, I really felt like, and I'm still learning, and we're always learning. But for me, it was like sales and marketing and kind of the appropriate way to like deal with your customers. And I had no clue at all, really. And I kind of felt like, oh, I got this in the bag because I have this accounting background, but that's not the only piece. It's a very, very important piece, but so many other things that I didn't really think about. And so, yeah, I would definitely say that sales and marketing was probably my most challenging area in this venture. So,
I think that's generically true that, there are a lot of people that have a heartfelt passion to do a certain thing. In your case, it's creative.
mhm.
I don't really consider myself to be a creative. I do a really good job of following a plan that's laid out for me. Um, but a lot of us don't think of ourselves as salespeople. In fact, it's a scary part of what we do. How did you go about learning? Um, what
Yeah.
you needed to do in sales and marketing. How did you learn that?
Yeah, well, I should back up a little bit and say how I achieved my goal of quitting my accounting job. About 4 years ago, I came across, her name is Rebecca Allen, and she's in Australia, and she found me actually in a cake group on Facebook one day, sent me a friend request, and I'm like, oh, who's this cool chick from Australia? So I met her, and she, like me, had a day job and then had a passion for baking, and so she um, was able to quit her day job and do her baking full time. And then she even grew it so much that she sold some franchises in Australia of her model of baking. And in the process of creating her materials for her franchisees, she realized that she really has a knack for business coaching. And so she developed Angel Foods and Cake Business School. It's an online coaching business to teach people like me and like her how to do it, how to set the goals and all the different moving pieces that you need to know to be successful and start a business. So I worked with her as a coach and took all of her courses for about 3 years. And in the third year, she helped me really set a SMART goal of, okay, you really want to do this? Let's break it down. Here's the steps, do the work. And so that was my first real, help with, doing this thing other than besides the accounting piece, all the other stuff. So I worked with her and was able to meet my goal. And then I have also worked with, I've done a lot of online learning. I've worked with Cheryl Burgett, who's also in our eWomen group for some sales coaching. So I think it's all about finding the people who have either gone through it successfully or just naturally know it to help, you know, lift us all up. So, and about a month after I quit my day job and was doing my Snarky Sweek Cake Chick business online, then Rebecca reached out to me and asked if I might be interested in buying Cake Business School from her. So, long story short, I am now the owner of Angel Foods and Cake Business School. So now I get to share my knowledge. It's like paying it forward, right? So she did it for me. Now I'm very excited to be able to do it for other people. And so that's kind of in a nutshell my metamorphosis into my living my passion for cake.
So I would draw out of that, I find it in my own life as well that it was really important to you to have a coach to
Yes,
help you establish the vision for where you wanted to go and create some
absolutely.
goals to help you get there.
Yes.
How important do you think it is to have a coach? Like
I,
a lot of small business people don't do that. It's expensive. So
it,
how important is it?
Yeah, you know what? I think it's absolutely crucial and something that I learned because I don't know, I think it's all about community and everyone has something to offer that, isn't doesn't come easily to someone else. And if we can all come together and help each other, and something I've learned, our coaches have coaches. Like we're not alone on this planet, right? And in this business venture, it's really all about, finding the right people to help you reach your goals. And yeah, I mean, it does scare people. And, for me, I was just starting out and I'm like, gosh, the worry about affording it, but it's really more about it's such an investment in your future. And I worth every penny. Really, I think it's crucial to have help. I mean, you can do it by yourself, but why would you when you can have people lift you up?
No, I agree. I have several people that I work with from a business coaching standpoint.
Mhm.
Some coached me on sales. Liz Windling was my very first sales coach. And then I have a business coach now that I've worked with for 5 years.
Mhm.
And I just think that people who want to pursue a passion, they have that calling or that area of passion, will be far more successful at bringing that passion to the market if they get some help with people who know various aspects of sales, marketing, business operations, and things
Mhm.
like that. I think it's crucial.
I do too. I totally agree. Yeah.
So you have kind of two sides to what you do. People, a lot of us know you as a cake baker
Yes.
and extremely creative cakes. And then you have a business school where you teach people how to develop their own cake baking business. So
Yeah.
what I'm going to do real quick is share my screen, and we're going to let you talk for a minute about both sides of your business. So where I am right now is I am on the website of the Snarky Sweek Cake Chick, and
Mhm.
I'm in your photo gallery. Wow, these are
Yeah.
some pretty amazing cakes. So tell me a little bit about a couple of these cakes, what they were for or what it was like to create them.
Yeah. Well, every cake that I create starts with a deep conversation with the person ordering it. It's because for me, it's more, not more, it's equally about the art, and it's not just a cake. What I do is I help people create memories for their celebrations
Ah,
as a master cake designer. So they're delicious, but it's really the showpiece to encompass the theme of the party, the essence of the recipient. It's very important to me that I capture, you know, more of a feeling than just, oh, I want a cake. It's a lot more goes into it than that. And I really listen, and I'll come up with a design. And, my goal is, I've made people cry with cake, but in a good way, which is like the best, where, it elicits such an emotion, whether it be
oh my
awe
gosh, I
or
love the toilet. Is that a toilet paper kit?
toilet paper. Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my gosh, that is so cool. I hadn't seen that before. That
yeah,
must be a 2020 cake.
yeah, it was. Yeah, so, and I think a lot of people maybe don't know what goes into the whole process when they work with me for a cake. It's all about the design and really capturing that for them. And some of my cakes can take up to 14 hours of decorating time, because most
Wow.
of my things are hand sculpted. I do a lot of carving and things like that. So it's really, it's something that people would want for really a milestone celebration, it kind of
Sure.
more than your everyday cake.
And do you do wedding cakes? It looks like these are
Yeah.
all
So
birthday and
yeah,
occasions.
kind of celebration cakes. I do wedding cakes also. I'm actually being a little more intentional about marketing for weddings this year. Actually, I had 3 weddings and a vow renewal just last week. So things are starting to happen again. So, um, and I like to really, as you can see, I like to do like really unique, different
They're
kind of
very
things.
unique and very cool. Do you have some wedding cakes on here if I keep
I do
scrolling?
actually. If you keep scrolling down, I think I have a few. Here we
Oh,
go.
here's a couple.
Yeah,
Yeah.
a few. I've not been real great about updating this website with new photos, but yeah, I absolutely do wedding cakes. And
However, the photos you have here would make it very clear to people the level of creativity and uniqueness that you bring to the opportunity to create memories or to participate in
mhm,
really life, once in a lifetime events for people.
yeah.
So, um, yeah, those are some great cakes. So how long in advance does somebody need to order a cake from you if they wanted a special cake for the holidays or for an upcoming, you know, 50th wedding anniversary or something like that? How far in advance do they need to order?
Yeah, I'm usually booked 2 to 3 weeks out. And sometimes I can be as booked as far out as a month. So yeah, um, definitely if anyone's interested, they should reach out. And there's certain times of year that I get busier.
Sure.
December I get real busy. So if anyone thinks they want something for then.
Okay. Well, there's some examples of your creativity and your cakes. So now I want to spend just a couple minutes on your cake baking school.
Yeah.
And I notice I've got a picture here. Um, there you go. So I notice it's a subscription service for your cake baking school. What does that mean?
Okay, so I actually have a couple different models. I have the subscription-based membership to Cake Business School is just a monthly membership, and they get access, as long as their subscription is active, they get access to all of the modules of my online course, and it's all the content that I personally followed to successfully quit my day job and have my full-time baking business. So it goes, there's information as far as, very first starting out, what you need to do to have a legal business, picking your name, having a website, marketing, uh, customer service for baking, the bookkeeping and accounting, which obviously is my background, social media, how to get wedding orders, how to get wholesale orders, pricing your cakes, pricing for profit. I'm actually also just finishing up my certification to be a Profit First certified professional. If anyone has heard of Mike Michalowicz, he's the author of Profit First and lots of other entrepreneurial books and teachings. I love his mission statement for Profit First is to eradicate entrepreneurial poverty. I love that.
Wow.
So the subscription based, it's a all pre-recorded videos and materials, downloadable worksheets, and it's hosted on the Teachable platform, so teachable.com. And then I also have a few other standalone courses that are one-time fee type of things. One that Nicole Anderson, who's an accountant and also a member of our eWomen chapter, she and I teamed up to create the Baking Professionals Guide to Financial Statements, which is a standalone course that we have also on the Teachable platform. And then there's a few other things, and I'm developing new content and new courses all the time. So that's how the current structure is. And once I'm finished with my Profit First certification, I'll be adding a lot of content and value around that. So, and then the picture you're looking at, I also do in-person technique teaching. So I teach the business side of baking, but I also teach baking and decorating skills. So, and those are just kind of, obviously with the pandemic, I wasn't doing a lot of in-person courses, but I'm doing, starting to develop some new ones. And I also do private instruction too, like one-on-one. So if somebody wants to hire me for, a block of time on a day, we can get together in my studio and play with sugar.
So you have a range of services. You do one-on-one and private coaching with
Mhm.
and technique, and you have classes and you have online content available. I
Yeah.
want to go back to your Profit First certification and just make a comment on that. Um, I've been in business now as an entrepreneur for 10 years. And my approach to it was if I work hard enough and long enough, the profit will come. And
Mhm.
it wasn't working like that at all, 10
Yeah.
years. And I was still operating at a really significant deficit until I hired a bookkeeper,
Mhm.
someone to help me with my QuickBooks and tax preparation. So what prompted me to make the hire, and I went to Julie Callahan, who's in our eWomen group,
Mhm.
what prompted me was I needed help getting ready for taxes. And when she began to look at what I was doing, and began to talk to me about, Donna, let's look at how we can structure what you're doing to bring forth a profit, and began really coaching me in that direction. It's
Mhm.
made a powerful change in how I approach things. So I
Yeah.
really honor and am impressed that you're working on Profit First certification,
Mhm.
because that'll be a huge gift for you
Yeah.
to bring to the people you're coaching.
Yeah, absolutely. So important. And not as, it's interesting because my accounting background is kind of backwards to what, not backwards, but it's a different approach to, you know, the old school approach is sales minus expenses equals your profit. Well, Mike teaches, no, 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 no. Sales minus profit equals your expenses. So being really intentional about that, profit first and, paying yourself first, and then you fit your expenses in to support that.
Say the
So,
formula one more time,
so,
the way it should be.
okay, so the way it should be is sales minus profit equals expenses. So you're really being intentional about, basically the concept is, if you don't have enough left over after you pay yourself to pay your expenses, that means you can't afford your expenses. So that's what, one place where you can look to, you know, be profitable and be successful. So, and there's obviously a lot of moving pieces, but um, in the certification I'm working through, there's just so many tools to really help small business owners implement this, and it's not as difficult as you might think.
That's good. So it's been that's been a learning nugget for me out of this discussion, is to think about that formula as I look at my own
Mm-hmm.
business, which hasn't been very intentional about profit at all.
Yeah.
So I want to close out with just a couple of last things. The first being, where do you see yourself going with your Snarky Sweet Cake Chick business and your cake school as you look out, say, the next year or two? Where are you heading? And then I want to talk a little bit about eWomen. So where are you headed?
Yeah. So Snarky Sweet Cake Chick is undergoing a little bit of metamorphosis as well. I've had that business entity for 3 years and been full time with it for the past year. Um, I'm really being very intentional about where I want to go with that. And I've realized that my true gifts are in the really artistic, show stopping pieces. And so I'm having the websites being redesigned as we speak, should be launching in the next couple of weeks. There's going to be some really exciting visual representations of where I want to take it. But I just, I feel like people need to, particularly entrepreneurs, you need to follow what makes your heart sing. And those are the cakes that make my heart sing. I mean, I can do the pretty little simple ones, but man, there's nothing like just getting in there and really creating something. Um, so that's where I'm moving with Snarky Sweet Cake Chick, is being very intentional about creating those kinds of cakes, um, above all else. And Cake Business School, I am just super excited. I've had that business for just about a year, and I've really been just kind of running it as Rebecca created it. But I'm very excited now to think I'm finally kind of ready to really make it my own and put myself out there. And I would love to be, the go-to for baking professionals when they want to follow their passions. So I see myself speaking at cake conventions when those happen again, at expos. I'd love to share my experience and my knowledge with as many people as possible, and just really grow in that online space as well.
That's
So
a great vision. And
yeah.
I definitely can see you. I can tell by what you've done already that you're going to bring both of those to fruition. So great conversation, Nicole. Thanks so much for spending the time with me. And I know people that listen to this are going to get some good information out of it, even if they don't bake cakes, which I definitely do not bake cakes. Um, I could eat some of them. Um,
Sure.
So I want to close out with a little plug for eWomen Network because that's where I met you. And I noticed that we've mentioned several people that are a part of the group as we've gone through the conversation. So eWomen Network is an amazing organization. It's an international organization. We have a great chapter here in Denver with Abby Harrison as the managing director. We meet typically on the second Thursday of every month, but this October, our meeting is on the 15th of October, and Nicole is going to donate a cake to the auction that we do because we have a former Bronco, Rod Smith, who's going to be, that's his name, right? Rod Smith?
I believe so, yes.
That's his name, who's going to be speaking. And so we've got a Bronco cake coming in for the auction. So anybody out there interested in some great networking, especially if you're a Bronco fan and want to hear from an ex-Bronco about how he visions to bring his business interest into focus. So that should be a great fit for what you're doing, Nicole, because this is certainly an important part of your success. So if anybody's interested in that, they can contact Nicole or contact me, and we'll get you connected with Abby and get you registered for the meeting on October the 15th, which is a virtual meeting. We're still meeting online for right now. Any last thing you want to say before we close out, Nicole?
Oh, I just really want to thank you for having me, and I've enjoyed connecting with you so much, and I just really appreciate your support.
Thanks so much. So I'm going to stop the recording here, and then we'll close our conversation out.